Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. You are tuning in to day three, first session. We made it through the conference, guys. We just have a few more sessions to go. You're tuning into our Native American teacher preparation programs when innovation and tradition meets the classroom. So today we're going to highlight some really great programs and their innovative practices, things they're doing in their community. And we would love to hear your thoughts as well in the chat. So we encourage you throughout the session today, drop what you're doing in your programs. Are there any ideas you can share with your folks today? I will be your presenter today. My name is Doris Tinsley. I'm a member of the Shinnecock Indian Nation, and I'm also a technical assistance coach for the Office of Indian Education. And if you're able to drop in the chat, we would love to know where you're zooming in from. If you are a PD grantee, what is your PD grantee? Where are you located? Are you teacher prep? Are you administration prep? We would love to know also if you're not a PD grantee, what grant program are you representing today? Where are you zooming in from? And what are you most looking forward to in the session today? And so just a little bit more about myself. I am a TA coach for Office of Indian Education, but I also have a deep passion for teaching. During, and after COVID, I was a student success coach in the Black Hills of South Dakota, and I absolutely loved helping my students get from point A to point B. I was an Oglala Lakota student for a long time at OLC. If there's any OLC folks here, I love being a student there. And so this program and this passion is really important to me because I had so many amazing teachers at OLC. And it inspired me to do what I'm doing today. And so I'm so excited to share these programs that we're going to share today. So during our time together, we're going to go through 3 schools, and each school has cultivated their own way of prepping teachers to go into the community and be a teacher and be an administrator. So we will start with one school that has highlighted connecting communities inside the classroom. And we're going to go through the practices and the different ways that they're building communities in classroom. We're also going to go to another school that is using language to prepare their teachers and what it looks like to put language first versus classroom management versus training, induction, and things like that. And then lastly, we're going to move on to focusing on the culture of the student. What does it look like to build multiculturalistic teachers in the classroom, and how they shape, and how does it shape their classroom management? And so really excited to go through these schools today. So to start, we're going to start with Southwestern Indian Polytechnic Institute. And we all know this institution as SIPI. So we're going to take a look at how SIPI connects community in their classroom, how it enhances their teacher education. So we're going to take a look at their intentionally developed Native teacher education program. And so SIPI has followed the vision that Native American teachers and administrator candidates should be nation builders. In about 2008, a Native Hawaiian scholar offered a new, refreshing way to view participants in programs just like yours. And this scholar said students should not just be teachers, they should be nation builders. And what that means is exactly what SIPI is doing, connecting community in the classroom. In order for Native teachers to contribute to nation building, to community building, to classroom building, teacher preparation needs to include academic preparation first and foremost, but also support for becoming cultural leaders and community partners. And so this unique training enables teachers to contribute to their families, to their communities, to their governances, to the local schools, and even all the way to their post-secondary choices. And this requires a re-envisioning of teacher preparation that trains their students. And so SIPI really does hone in onto nation building in their classroom. And on the next slide, we're going to go through some ways that they infuse it. And nation building within Native American communities refers to efforts aimed at strengthening and revitalizing the cultural, social, political, and economic foundations of Indigenous nations. Historically, as we all know, our communities have faced significant challenges, including forced removal from our ancestral lands, cultural suppression, and the impact of policies such as boarding schools and forced assimilation. And SIPI chose to face this and use it as a way to build up their teachers. So within their program, they have infused 8 ways to prepare their teachers to be nation builders. And we're going to go through each of those ways. And so in the context of nation building, I'm going to just drop a few points on how they are using each of these sections into their classroom building. We're going to start with education. So SIPI promotes education initiatives that respect and incorporate Native American cultures, histories, perspectives, both within formal educational institutions and through community-based programs. Next, they focus on health and wellness in their classroom building. They address healthcare disparities in their curriculum. They work on improving access to quality healthcare and addressing the health needs of their communities. Moving on to legal and political advocacy. SIPI engages their students in legal and political efforts that's surrounding their schools, the reservations, and the communities. They learn about protecting tribal sovereignty, securing land rights, advocating for policies that benefit their communities as well. They also hone in on cultural revitalization, focusing on preserving and revitalizing traditional languages in the classroom. They use their customs, spirituality, and other aspects of our heritage that may have eroded over time, but they keep it strong in their classroom. They also talk about tribal governance. What does tribal governance look like, not only in our nations, but how does that impact our classroom? How can that impact our families? And so they use those community connections in that aspect as well. They also learn about land and resource management in their teacher prep programs. They address these issues. They bring in those conversations in the classroom. They talk about land rights. They talk about sovereignty of the classroom. They talk about resource management and the sustainable development of their communities and how that can impact teachers and how that can impact their students as well. And then lastly, this point is how they have re-envisioned their summer courses as community development. So SIPI has taken this point very seriously. They implement initiatives for economic development, job creation, and improvement of living standards within their community. And so these 8 ways are just different ways to incorporate nation building on how to re-envision what teachers can be when they do go out into the community and become teachers. Because it's essential to recognize the diversity amongst our nations. We each have distinct cultures and languages and histories, and nation building within our communities involves a multifaceted approach. And with these 8 ways, it allows us to respect. It allows us to honor our unique identities and traditions while addressing contemporary challenges and opportunities. So SIPI began reimagining their early childhood education initiative. SIPI had one goal as they were beginning the process. They wanted to strengthen its practices across the disciplines and activating the central role of Native language, culture, and partnerships to enhance teacher training and practices. One way SIPI overcame that goal is by providing an early childhood education special topics course. So this course was given during the summer and is an optional 3-credit course that lasted 15 weeks. And to summarize the course, it allowed students to speak about the things that most teacher prep classes and American Indian students classes would not allow their students to talk about. In this special topics course, they talked a lot about boarding school trauma, the loss of languages, classroom sovereignty, and they focus on that content at hand and how that impacts the community and how it impacts them as teachers. And at the end of the course, the teachers are asked to contemplate their role as teachers. And they stated that they appreciated 2 things that their teacher prep program gave them: community involvement and classroom-based learning instruction. They learned how to mobilize partnerships and community members to enhance their teacher prep and enhance how they can then go into the community and become Native teachers that our Native students need. Not what we think they want, but what they need. And so all in all, this course helps SIPI teacher prep participants develop a critical consciousness around being a teacher, but not only just being a teacher, being a Native American and Indigenous teacher. In the fall of 2021, SIPI's Indigenous Early Education Program was awarded the Indigenous Early Childhood Education Grant by the College Fund. SIPI is a tribal college located in Albuquerque, New Mexico, that offers an Associate of Arts degree in Indigenous Early Childhood Education. And the goal of this grant includes consulting community and Indigenous thought leaders to engage in dialogue aimed at improving the early ECE program curriculum. And SIPI's faculty developed a virtual dialogue that ended not too long ago. And the series included 4 guest lectures featuring Indigenous scholars and teachers. And we're going to go through what the series looked like together. And so SIPI's faculty intentionally developed the series to include local and national Indigenous voices. SIPI's faculty member and project director, Dr. Danielle Langsing, shares how they developed the dialogue sessions. She says that improving our program and making it more relevant to Indigenous teachers is at the forefront of our planning. There's always room for enhancement. We thought that the support we've needed to think about areas of improvement included revisions to our program of study, curriculum and community outreach. And along the way, she also shared that they developed a community map of resources and community partners, and that helped identify key thought leaders that they wanted to learn from to continue to enhance their teacher prep program. So using their community map, SIPI developed a 4-part speaker series to be delivered online via Zoom. And so the first 2 dialogue sessions featured Doctors Jeremy Garcia and Valerie Shirley from the University of Arizona's Indigenous Teacher Education Program, ITEP. The speakers presented the Indigenous frameworks that guide their programming, as well as examples of student projects and assessments. These presentations featured and inspired SIPI faculty to reflect and refine existing student projects. Faculty also reviewed and analyzed course and program level outcomes together. Tangible examples of key components of an Indigenous teacher education program were inspiring and instructive to the faculty, Dr. Lansing says. The SIPI faculty were especially impressed with how the ITEP program implemented innovative methods for assessing students at the course level. ITEP currently employs digital storytelling as a medium for supporting students and reflecting on paradigm shifts and evolution of their perspectives. Students are able to capture their unique learning journey through a medium that allows for their personal creative expression. Many students included powerful images, music, and their native language into their digital stories. SIPI hopes to employ more performance-based assessments into their courses in the future. And then also a key component of this dialogue session included the engagement of fellow tribal college and universities and faculty members across the nation. The College Fund assisted in disseminating invitations to fellow TCUs and created a space to develop a national discourse around Indigenous teacher education. Each session included an informative presentation followed by opportunities for questions and answers. And so a lot of TCUs attended these virtual services, the virtual dialogue series, and it was a great space. Dr. Lansing said it was a very fruitful and enriching conversation, and that this was a positive impact on SIPI's virtual dialogue series because it included an increased awareness of how they can improve their early childhood education program and start to convene different perspectives that inform their teacher education curriculum. And so if you would like to learn more about SIPI, their program, their early childhood program initiative, please reach out to Dr. Lansing through her LinkedIn. And that link should be under the descriptions inside our CVent event. But if it is not, our moderator will have the chance to drop that in the chat for you all if you are not able to access that. So before I move on to the next session, any questions or comments that have popped up about CIPI, about their nation building techniques, or any other ways that you all can relate?
Doris, right now, I mean, maybe we should wait a second, but right now there's no questions or comments.
No problem. Tons and tons of information. We have 2 more great examples to follow. So moving on to the University of Hawaii Hilo, we will take a trip to learn about another teacher prep program that is leading language revitalization in their classrooms. So we're going to learn about the Kahua Viola Indigenous Teacher Education Graduate Program Certificate. And this was established in 1998 by Hawaii State Legislator. Kahua Viola was established by the University of Hawaii in 1998 and has been recognized by the UH system as an improved professional education unit since January 1999. Since 2001, Kahua Viola has functioned as a state-approved teacher education program and is the only fully approved and accredited unit established to prepare teachers through Hawaiian language for P through 12 education. It is the first and only teacher licensing preparation program taught entirely in the Hawaiian language, and it's also the first teacher education program taught through an indigenous language in the United States. The graduate certificate in Kahua Viola Indigenous Teacher Education prepares teachers and candidates for professional licensure as Maui Ola educators who focus on the Hawaiian language. This program also prepares students for other educational settings as well. And so their program is built on tons and tons of traditional customs and knowledge to prepare teachers in the right way, in the honest way, in the traditional way. They believe that language preservation should be at the forefront and that we should have a holistic approach to education, that we should also hold at the forefront tribal sovereignty and self-determination, a really big component. We're going to talk about this in a few slides as well, that culturally responsive teaching methods is why that this program is so successful. And that graduates from Kahua Viola are equipped with culturally responsive teaching methods that take into account the diverse learning styles and cultural backgrounds of Indigenous students, promoting a more inclusive and effective educational experience. And that is one of the foundations of this program, is their culturally responsive teaching methods. They also, one of their priorities is their networking opportunities, and that this program provides networking opportunities for students to connect with experienced educators within Hilo, but also they highlight the importance of community leaders, community elders, our relatives. My mom always says it takes a village to raise and teach a child, and Hilo uses that motto faithfully, that it's not just our educators and faculty members, but they bring in our elders, they bring in community leaders to create a supportive network for ongoing professional development. They also really want to help shape culturally competent educators as well. Kahua Viola produces educators who are not only knowledgeable about Indigenous cultures, but are also culturally competent, demonstrating respect, understanding, and sensitivity in their interactions with students, families, and communities. And so these points just showcase the unique features of Kahua Viola's graduate program certificate, because it highlights its commitment to cultural preservation, community engagement, and in the development of effective, culturally competent educators. And so we're going to go through exactly how this program is built. It's built in 4 phases, and we're going to go through each phase to learn more how they are building culturally and linguistic competent educators. So The mission of the college is to assure the revitalization and continued advancement and growth of the Hawaiian language in Maui Ola, Hawaii. A thriving Hawaiian language is the means through which the Maui Ola Hawaii will once become commonplace in both traditional and contemporary contexts in Hawaii. The college joins with other Indigenous peoples in the revitalization of their own languages and cultures. Our collective efforts will ensure the furthering of local, national, and international initiatives towards establishing language and cultural vibrancy throughout the world. So you can just see and feel their dedicated purpose through their mission and how they have set forth the purpose of their program. They have 5 outcomes of their program. 1, they want to demonstrate advancement in spoken and written Hawaiian with fluency and consistency in all educational contexts, adhering to graduate level writing standards. Their second outcome, they want the students to demonstrate analytical skills and comprehension of content and overall constitution of literacy, cultural, and historical Hawaiian language texts. Third, they want to examine and articulate the Hawaiian language movement with broader context of language revitalization. Fourth, they want students to apply the knowledge and skills in the performance of not only the language, and this is really important too, they also want students to understand the importance and the significance of Hawaiian culture, chants, dance, and other customs that make the traditions of our Hawaiian relatives who they are. And so I think that is why this is a really important program to connect with and to meet up with and to see how they are using their local stories into their teaching, how they're using their chants and their traditions in their teaching. And then lastly, they want every student that comes through this program to exhibit leadership in Hawaiian and Indigenous language and in the movement of bringing back their language. And so the program description is really unique. And that's why I'm so excited to share that this is a 3-semester graduate certificate program. They place high value on on-site learning and practicum experience with high performance outcomes. They have 4 program areas of teacher preparation. 1, they go over Hawaiian language, culture, and values. 2, they go over pedagogy and skills. 3, the knowledge of content. And lastly, 4, the development of professional qualities. And so this program is delivered through 4 phases, and we're going to walk through those 4 phases now. And so the 4 program areas are intended to teach and instill curriculum and instruction. First, they explore the course and content related to curriculum development and instructional strategies and culturally responsive teaching methods. This area also covers how to integrate Indigenous perspectives into curriculum design and educational practices. They also highlight language and culture. They investigate how the program addresses language preservation and cultural revitalization. This could include courses focused on language instruction, cultural studies, and strategies for incorporating Indigenous languages into the classroom. Their third program area is community engagement and advocacy. So they look for components of the program that emphasize community engagement, collaboration, and advocacy. This area covers how educators can work effectively with Indigenous communities, build partnerships, and advocate for the unique needs and rights of their students. And then lastly, they hope to build educational leadership. They explore aspects of the program that focus on leadership development within the field of Indigenous education. This includes courses or experiences that prepare graduates for leadership roles within educational institutions or in the broader context of Indigenous education policy and advocacy. So our first phase, which is called Vana'au, and so in this first phase, it requires students to have previous experience in teaching or curriculum development. So students must come to the program with experience in the following areas: at least 4 years in the Hawaiian language, successful completion of a Hawaiian language or Hawaiian studies class, 50 hours of experience, and passing scores on their Practice 1 exams and Practice 2. And then lastly, they go through an interview with faculty of this program. And so that way students come already with the foundation of what to expect, but also that cultural competency and importance that they're looking for in their students. Phase 2. So phase 2 is named Kahikole. The second phase takes place during the summer. And so during this phase, teachers like to call this the foundational phase of teacher training, because they learn principles of learning and teaching that are integrated within the state standards and general educational theory. They have based their program on Hawaiian traditions. And so phase 2 combines teacher training. Yes, they have to learn how to comply with state standards and general education standards across the islands, but they learn it in a way that is through Hawaiian tradition. And students learn to integrate the Hawaiian culture and traditions through phases of curriculum and content building. They learn different learning strategies, how to build lesson plans, how to assess their lesson plans. They learn classroom management and other skills necessary for practical application in the third phase. So think of it as building blocks. They went through the first phase. Now their second phase is going to get them all set up for the third phase. And in this phase, in Kahikole, they're encouraged to return to their home communities for the practicum phases and are supported by a cooperating teacher. And they will also have regular site visits from their certificate program faculty. And they must also partake in professional development workshops where the students are given the opportunity to interact with practicing Hawaiian immersion professionals from the state. And so from this phase, students are expected to commit to a full-time practicum experience. And I think the amazing part of this phase is that they are supposed to go back home. And that's what we are taught as Indigenous peoples, that whenever we go and we receive knowledge, we learn new things, you return home, you return back to your people. And that's a really important part of this phase, is that students are meant to go back to the same area that they came from to learn how to attend to the needs of Indigenous students, but not just a full blanket on how to teach students, but how to fit the needs of students, how to make it fair and equal, but also equitable in their teaching practices. Moving on to the third phase, Kahiku, and this takes place during the fall semester and focuses on developing teaching skills, but includes discussion of broader issues that are appropriate as well. And so this is where the candidates and the students really learn how to use their classroom management and lesson planning skills. And as you can see, this combines developing teaching skills and place-based learning. So students carry a total course of 12 credits during the fall, which includes both the practicum and seminar. And within this phase, they are using a culture-based instructional method. So if you are able to locate the resources tab in your Cvent platform, you will see that we have uploaded some templates, and they are the Moe Naha model templates. And this integrates natural learning strategies from it combines natural learning based strategies and Native Hawaiian pedagogy. And I highly encourage you to download these templates. One template is in English and one is in Hawaiian as well. And so I wanted to both place those resources in there so you can see and potentially use in your own programs how these teachers are creating lesson plans, but they're creating lesson plans using place-based learning, but using the languages, their language first and foremost as well. And if you do not see the link in our link section, I'm going to also post the link for you all to go explore yourself to learn more about these unit planning templates. And so also, Finishing up with our fourth phase, Kaulolo takes place during the spring semester and focuses on the mastery of teaching skills and professionalism through extended teaching experiences and seminar support. The seminar focuses on hypothetical situations and long-range goals rather than practical day-to-day situations, although these are also covered when appropriate. In this phase, students acquire the higher level planning and conceptualization skills necessary for the growth of the Hawaiian language and education. And so during the spring semester, students carry a total, again, 12 credits, including both their practicum and their seminar. So through this phase, the students they're evaluated through tests that test these following areas. They're tested in reading comprehension, they're tested in oral comprehension, they're tested in how they are adapting older materials to the current student, and they're also tested on translation from English and composition. And then lastly, they have an interview that tests their oral language skills. So if you would like to learn more about this program and its learning methods, please reach out to Kanani o Nohea Makaimuku, and their email is on the slide for you. And so he is the program manager. And would you believe that this amazing program has 2 staff that create such magic for their students and for their teacher candidates and support for their faculty. And so with all that information, and now that we've gone through 2 examples, are there any questions, any comments that are in the chat?
Yeah, there are a couple of comments. There is some sharing around Cal Poly Humboldt. Is also building its native teacher program backup with its ITEP Indian Teacher Education Personnel Program, student support program.
Awesome.
Also, another participant shared, Shannon, shared that an Oglala Lakota College delegation visited the program. I believe this was Kahua Viola, and an area PK through 12 school in 2012. At that time, they were beginning to have students who went on to receive their teaching degree and were returning as teachers, all schooling completed in native language.
Awesome.
Also, Northwest Indian Language Institute, University of Oregon, on the homelands of, I'm sorry, I'm gonna hope I'm not mispronounce this, Kalapua, Kalapuya people of Northwest Regional Native American Language Resource Center. Provides Native American language teacher training on-site and online at UO and in tribal communities.
Awesome. Those are great examples. And I'm so happy you guys are posting those so we can incorporate those in our future PD meetings and just to spread the knowledge of those great examples. Thank you guys so much. And so lastly, we're going to talk about the University of Washington at Tacoma. And I have the honor to be living on the traditional homelands of the Puyallup tribe of Indians. I live in Puyallup, Washington, and I have the great honor of living really close to one of their tribal schools, Chief Lashai. And so I just wanted to talk about their secondary teacher education program. And so we're going to discuss their education program, but also additional courses that these students are allowed to take to learn more about how to teach Native children. And so, and I'm going to talk, and you'll hear me say UW Tacoma. That is University of Washington at Tacoma. And so UW Tacoma has a residency teacher certificate program. in mathematics, sciences, social studies, language arts, world language, and computer science. And each of these programs provides aspiring educators with a comprehensive and immersive training experience. It's designed to bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical classroom application. The program typically includes hands-on teaching experiences in diverse educational settings. And so I wanted us to remember diverse educational settings because this program highlights what it means to be a multicultural teacher, and they highlight multiculturalism a lot in their teacher training. And so our participants in this program, they focus on developing skills that are detailed to their chosen subject area. They also learn how to gain effective instructional strategies, curriculum development, and assessment techniques. This residency model allows candidates to work closely with mentor teachers, and they gain valuable insights and feedback to refining their practices. And so this program highlights field-based training. And so we learned in our previous example at University of Hawaii Hilo that they put forth place-based learning, whereas UW-Tacoma highly pushes field-based learning. And here are some reasonings why they think field-based learning is crucial in teacher education. I'm just going to go through a few examples that they have given. So first, UW-Tacoma believes that field-based learning allows teachers to apply theoretical knowledge in authentic classroom settings. They believe that field-based learning is real-world application. It translates academic concepts into real teaching strategies. They also believe that field is the best learning to expose their teacher candidates to diverse environments. They believe field-based learning exposes future teachers to the diversity of educational environments that includes various grade levels, school settings, student populations, and it enhances their adaptability and cultural competence. Another point that they have shared is that field-based encourages reflective practices. It prompts educators to critically analyze their teaching methods, and it helps their students, their teacher prep candidates adapt based on real world challenges, and it continually refines their instructional approaches. And lastly, they believe that field-based learning cultivates classroom management skills. They believe field-based learning gives students practical experiences in the field that helps teachers develop effective skills, such as creating a positive and conducive learning environment for students. So in summary, field-based learning is essential in teacher education because they believe it bridges the gap between theory and practice. It offers valuable mentorship. It exposes educators to diverse programs and environments, and cultivates the skills and insights necessary for effective teaching in the real world classroom. So I'm going to go through the structure of their program. And so a hallmark of University of Washington, UW teacher education is that they split their school settings in quarters, like most of us do. So in the spring, that's when students will learn their subject method courses that are taught. And a really unique thing about this is that they are taught in urban partner school classrooms, which are public schools with high levels of social, economic, ethnic, and racial diversity. So these classes are often co-taught by expert teachers and UW faculty members as well. And the way that they have shaped this has been known for their cutting edge work in curriculum and instructions. So their teacher prep candidates complete a practicum in a middle school classroom that matches their content area. And their schoolwork is tied to the context of their placement. So that is in their spring. And so in the summer, they work with English language learners. And this is to help students with reading and writing in their subject area. And they have placed the importance of multicultural education in this summer planning area. And they believe that while working with groups of young people, that this also helps them bridge and create bridge programs for incoming freshmen to become next, students in their program. So UW-Tacoma likes to believe that multiculturalism can significantly enhance teaching in Native American classrooms. And so this is also tied into the next portion is that the school also offers a Native education certificate to enhance their secondary residency program that they're offering students. And so just tying in why multiculturalism is an effective educational environment, they believe that it offers cultural competency. It allows students to dig deeper into culturally responsive pedagogy. It allows students to receive cultural preservation. It supports community involvement. Multiculturalism in classrooms gives students respect for cultural traditions that's not only their own. It also highlights how multicultural education promotes inclusive curriculum design. It promotes a holistic approach to education, and it allows for a great resource of teacher professional development. And all in all, it cultivates positive teacher-student relationships, and that is the framework, that is the basis of what the teacher prep program is trying to highlight, is teacher to student relationships, and that having an emphasis on multicultural education and teaching practices, it strengthens the respect of the cultural backgrounds in the classrooms, and it provides a very positive connection that can lead to increased trust, engagement, and academic success. And so I am so in support of that. When teachers go into classroom, you're not teaching just one type of student. You're teaching many different students that come with many different walks of life, different walks of languages, different experiences. And so this program allows students to allow their teachers to go into classrooms and not treat it as okay, this is the way we've been doing it, we're going to continue to do it. But they shape their curriculum that allows each student to be successful in their own way. And so all in all, this program embraces multiculturalism and allows their teacher prep candidates to create an educational environment that not only respects and celebrates each student, but also enhances their overall educational experience in the classroom. And they believe that this contributes to their academic success and well-being of that student in the classroom. So moving on to the second half of their program. Students are wrapping up their first year at this point, and the students are beginning to develop key attributes as multiculturalistic teachers. The students are based in teaching placements, and remember that these partnerships that they're based to teach in were built in the spring. And so being from Indigenous communities, relationship building is so important. It's extremely important. And this program has a very unique and respectful approach that they are not just throwing these students into these random classrooms. And if you are not knowledgeable of Tacoma is a very diverse county, a very diverse city. And you cannot just throw and you cannot just abruptly change these students' routines. And so, especially when Tacoma is so many cultures, many beautiful cultures, that they already built a family. So I know when I was in school, whenever we had subs, it was like a culture shock. Like, who are you? Where's our teacher? Why are you here? And so these student teachers have already built that relationship. So they are not disrupting any routines in the classroom. They already know their teachers and their teaching placements. And so that is the fall. And then moving into the spring, that's when responsibilities increase. They're about to really become what they have been training to do. And this is where the coursework and adolescent development and training really hits home. And so in this course, teachers have the ability to learn more about the importance of adolescent development and training and why this is so important in this last phase. Adolescents undergo a significant change in their physique, in their cognitive thinking, in their social thinking, and their emotional training. Their emotional changes. So honing in on adolescent development allows teachers to be equipped with the understanding of these stages. It tailors their teaching methods to meet the diverse needs of their adolescents. Also, this program does a lot of training in classroom management. It's one thing to learn about teacher instruction models. It's one thing to learn about pedagogy skills and concepts, but it's another thing to walk out of these programs and really learn how to effectively manage a classroom. I have been in classrooms with middle schoolers, and I can already tell you it is not for the weak. You have to be gifted to manage a middle school classroom. And that's what this program really hones in on, is the knowledge of adolescent development. And they're helping teachers implement effective strategies. They give them tools to align social and emotional dynamics of this age group. And by learning these effective classroom management, it contributes to a positive and conducive learning environment. Also, it builds positive relationships. Learning, being equipped in adolescent development. I know for me, it was a great feeling when I can go into my classrooms and my students saw me not only as their teacher, but as a confidant, as an auntie, as a friend. That's when you get the most success out of your classroom, where they see you, but they're like, oh, they get me, they see me, they understand me. And by building positive relationships, that also promotes mental health. And I believe that is really critical in this age group. And in this program at UW-Tacoma, they also learn and they train their students. They train their students to be teachers that recognize the signs of emotional distress and how to provide appropriate support to create a healthy classroom. We are not sending our kids to go to school to just listen, learn, and follow directions, but we're also hoping that our teachers are protecting our kids, that they're loving on our babies in a way that is promoting mental health. And that is what this program allows their teacher candidates to learn as well. And lastly, the adolescent development training addresses how to prevent bullying, and it promotes inclusivity. And so in this training course, the students learn how to be teachers that face bullying and exclusion. It equips teachers to recognize and address such issues and exactly how to diffuse these issues. And I'm not going to go too much on bullying, because that is a phenomenon that has been plaguing our school systems, and it has been a really big issue, especially with social media and technology and TikTok and Instagram. It's something that we were not expecting to be a problem, but now we are facing cyberbullying, and this program addresses that. So in summary, adolescent development and training empowers our teachers to be more effective educators by providing them with the knowledge and skills needed to understand and connect with their students in their classroom and support the unique needs of our adolescents. And so here is a really great professional development opportunity that they give their students. So in this past November, they had a Northwest Early Learning and Pyramid Summit. And in the summit, they discussed unique needs and opportunities across urban and rural communities in Washington State. Together, they implemented plans and coordinated programs to access childcare, public schools, special education, mental health, and community agencies. And they also built a racially just pyramid model. And so just to quickly go through, because I see that we are running out of time just a bit, in that the pyramid model in teacher education programs typically refers to a framework used to promote social emotional competence and prevent challenging behaviors in young children. This model is often associated with early childhood education and is designed to support teachers in creating positive and inclusive learning opportunities and environments. And so the pyramid model is based on the premise that addressing the social emotional needs of the students in the classroom is essential for their overall well-being and academic success. And so at this conference, they dove deeper into the pyramid model and the 3 tiers of focusing on different aspects of social emotional development and behavior support. And so they discussed tier 1, universal supports. At the base of the pyramid represents universal strategies that are applied to all students in the classroom. And these strategies are typically designed to create a positive and inclusive learning environment for everyone. And universal supports may include promoting positive teacher-student relationships, like we talked about before, establishing clear and consistent expectations, and implementing classroom-wide activities that foster this social and emotional development. Then we have the middle tier, tier 2. And the middle tier involves more targeted strategies for children who may need additional support beyond the universal strategies. And so this level is designed for a smaller group who may be at risk for social emotional challenges. And this is where teachers may provide targeted interventions, social skills training, or small group activities to address needs. And then we have the top tier, our most individualistic level of support, and it's focused on children with significant social, emotional, behavioral challenges. And so this is where the intensive interventions come in place that address the needs of our children under unique circumstances. And so again, at this conference, they learned how to use this model in their teacher training, what it looks like to emphasize the support and positive relationships, and how that can impact social emotional learning in their classroom. And so I just really wanted to note that while the pyramid model is often associated with early childhood education, the beauty of this Northwest Early Learning and Pyramid Summit is that they stretched it outside of just early childhood education, that the students learn how to apply these same strategies and methods to the culture and climate of Tacoma, to the culture and climate of our of the middle schools and high schools in the area that have more diverse social economic layers of families and of classrooms. I know for myself, I worked in many of these middle schools and high schools in Tacoma as a student success coach, and it's extremely important that these strategies are learned, that they're passed on, because what I've seen is that I worked with many of these high school students, and just the positivity and inclusivity that these students have been met with. I've seen many of my kids graduate and want to become teachers, and they're going to school to do just that. And so that's another note that these programs do. They do promote the new age of teachers. And so before I move on to our next section of UW Tacoma, are there any comments or questions that I can address before we move on to our last portion?
Just a comment saying thank you. This information is what I had hoped to receive. Yeah, that's
awesome. Thank you guys so much. I think that this next portion, it's my favorite, so I saved it for last. And so students in this program also have the opportunity to take additional classes, and such as a Native Education Certificate. And so the guiding principles of this program, there are many, but I just wanted to highlight a few. That it fosters identity development for Native learners in school. Another point I wanted to highlight that this program focuses on is the educator's ability to utilize culturally responsive pedagogies and effectively educate Native American students in a way that the students thrive. And that's really important. You know, we want to send our Indigenous kiddos to school to learn, but we want their identity to be protected, and we want them to have pride in who they are and not feel like they have to choose, do they want to be Native in the classroom, or do they have to assimilate to the modernism of classrooms. And so this education certificate teaches the students to become teachers, to mesh the two, to allow the students to learn that they can be Native American students in a classroom. And so we're going to go through what the phases of this program looks like. And I'm also going to offer a visual. And again, the link should be on our CVent platform of what the timeline looks like. And so just going over what year one looks like. So in year one, they understand why tribal sovereignty is important in the classroom. And so they are allowing the students to understand and to respect, not only have the cultural sensitivity, but have cultural respect of their students. They learn the importance of collaboration and partnerships with Native American communities. Like I said in the beginning, it takes a village to raise our children. And so in this program, in the first months of this program, they ought to relationship build with communities, with parents and families in the beginning. They also understand the importance of respecting values, and that every Native student is not going to have the same value. You know, we're not a monolith. You know, our students come with many different tribal values and traditions, and that is what they're learning in the first few months. And then lastly, they learn how to support Native student identity. And like I said in the beginning, they learn how to enhance their sense of pride and connection to their identity. And then moving forward in October and March, they are learning the fundamentals in Native education, leading changes in Native American education, cultivating Native child and adolescents identity and development, like we talked about before. And lastly, engaging Native children, but engaging our families and our communities in land-based pedagogies. And so finishing up year one, between February and July, they again are learning culturally responsive classroom management, and they are learning how to approach to manage and organize a classroom that takes into account diverse cultural backgrounds of our students. And so again, I just want to say that this recognizes the importance of creating a supportive learning environment that respects the cultural identities of our students. And this approach goes beyond traditional classroom management strategies, because this integrates cultural awareness, sensitivity, and responsiveness into the ways that our teachers establish routines, enforce rules, and how they can build relationships with student to student. And so that is their year one. And I just wanted to share a visual. It's hard to see, and so we have the link for you all as well. And we will also post it in the chat for you to take a peek, if you're able to, of really what year one looks like. You can see the theme, the section, what module they are taking, how many credits, the description, the objectives, and the milestones, exactly when they're supposed to be taking these classes. It's really important that we see that within this first year, they are just getting the foundation of what they're supposed to be having. And so moving on to year two. Year two is where they have a deeper dive into exactly how to teach subject matter in a way for our Native students to learn it, but not only to learn it, how to process it and how to apply it. So they take a deeper dive, and this deeper dive eventually ends to their project of choice. And so they learn teaching and learning in the disciplines. They are also having a student project that focuses on what does it mean to teach so Native students can thrive. And I think that that looks different for every tribal community. That looks different for every student. You know, how our students learn may look different. And so the year 2 allows them to be flexible and to create lesson plans that is adaptable for each student. And so again, I wanted to just show you what year 2 looks like. It's a bit smaller than year 1, but I think that that is because they are really focusing on how to teach our students so they can thrive, not so they can learn, not so they can just pass tests and get to the next level, not because they have to take the statewide exam, but so they can thrive, so they can learn. And you can see the dates as well as where they fall. And so just wrapping up about UW-Tacoma, that they're inspiring students to become teachers that focus on the culture of their students versus the amount of passing grades and success in the classroom. And so if you would like to learn more about UW-Tacoma, about their structure, about their program, please email their director below. And so as we are wrapping up and we are reaching the top of the hour, I just wanted to recap that during our time today, we have explored 3 different schools, 3 different amazing schools that have shaped their classrooms to tend to the culture around them. So we learned at SIPI that their students are learning how to incorporate the community and most importantly, incorporate its elders, the history, and how SIPI has focus their program to become better teachers that can go anywhere in Arizona and relate to not only the classroom, but to their families. We learned at Hilo, they are inspiring teachers to become change agents. They're to become change agents in the movement of language revitalization, that the families of Hawaii want teachers that can continue the culture and language of their community. And Hilo understands that with their culture-based instruction. And lastly, we took a trip to UW-Tacoma to understand the schools around Tacoma are diverse with a melting pot of communities with rich history. And it would be a disgrace to ignore that rich history. And so they are preparing teachers to go in and honor those histories with the multiculturalism in their curriculum. And so I just wanted to leave you with a few questions. How are you going to shape your future programs to tend to your community, your languages, and your people? And so even though we're going to have some questions, time for questions, I encourage us to take this conversation to our discussion boards and ask each other, how are we shaping our programs to tend to our community, our language, and our people? And at that time, are there any questions or comments?
There is some great comments, sort of thanking you for digging into all of this information, being really helpful. Great job, Doris. Also, I really appreciate the sharing of specific information related to how training programs incorporate the teaching of sovereignty to students as well as the tribal communities, and also how it is part of the coursework. And then Alyssa, I knew many people in high school and college who felt that they had to give up their own indigeneity to be successful in their chosen career paths, including education. So I'm really glad to learn about these programs. Thank you for your presentation. And then Sydney, I guess it's mahalo, but I don't know how to say that word, Kiana, for the resources. Sorry if I messed that up. I know I did. Do these programs connect with any high schools to prep for their programs? I hope that makes sense.
Do any of these schools
Programs connect with high schools to prep for their programs?
If I'm understanding the question correctly, I think a really great example of that is the most recent one, UW-Tacoma. And so UW-Tacoma sends their students, I want to say in year 1, the latter half of year one, they send their students directly into a high school. So it's either a middle school or a high school, but most students choose high schools in their program. And so they go straight into the high schools as a teacher aide, or like a TA, a teacher's assistant. And that's when they start relationship building, because following the next year, so they do a full year of aiding, of assisting, of building those connections in the high school. And then beginning year two, they are now teaching there. They're doing their practicum there. And it looks very different per high school. Some high schools are very lenient, and they will pair a student up with a teacher, and teachers will allow that student to really take hold of the classroom to get that experience, or they will be a teacher's aide, they'll be a TA. And so I hope I understood that question right, but UW-Tacoma really pushes their students into a high school almost immediately. And they stay in that high school and they finish all the way until they have graduated.
Awesome. Again, thank you. Renuka, I reposted a link. Let's see if that one works for you. And then Dee said again, thank you. We will have access to the PowerPoint, right? It should be in the resources section of this presentation. So if you look at the platform down the right-hand side, you see chat, QA, polls, and then resources. And at the top of that list of documents that Dora's sharing is the presentation.
Awesome. Well, I really do appreciate everyone tuning in to this amazing topic. I had so much fun presenting and diving deeper into how each of these universities and institutions can shape our teachers, and how they can shape our future of our kiddos in the classrooms. And so if there are any other comments or questions, I encourage you all to stay in touch. Please submit your emails and your names to our listservs and quarterly newsletters, so we can keep you in the loop of everything that we're doing, but also so you can keep us in the loop of what you're doing. Please also be sure that you have our link to our website. We're always posting program highlights. We're always talking about how amazing our grantee PD, our product directors are. And also, if you have not, please follow us on X, which you may know as Twitter. And so we encourage you to follow us there, because we also post highlights and news in Indian country as a whole. We like to keep everyone up to date with that as well. And so if there are no other comments or questions from our folks.
No, there aren't. Just again, lots of thank yous.
Awesome.
Awesome presentation. I just want to remind everybody before you head out to the next session that there is a survey. If you could give us some feedback here, again, down, you see chat, Q&A, polls, resources, and right at the bottom is the survey. We'd love to hear from you folks.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that reminder, Alani, because I totally forgot. But yes, please leave your feedback. And so in about 10-ish minutes, 10 to 11 minutes, we're going to have our next roundtable start. And so we highly encourage you to come spend more time with us. Come allow us to hear your opinions, learn more from you. Even though you're coming here for sessions, it's really important. We love to learn from you. You all are a well of knowledge for us. So please come to our next roundtables. Like I said, please take this conversation to the discussion board. Let's talk more about how we are shaping our programs to put our families and our languages and our communities at the forefront. I would love to continue the conversation. Like Olani said, download our files from the resource library. And lastly, once this live has ended, you have the opportunity to rewatch it. And so we encourage you to rewatch this one, but also rewatch our previous sessions as well. And so if you have any questions or want to follow up with us at the TA team, please email us at the email on the screen. But Again, thank you for tuning in with me and listening to me talk about teacher prep programs that hold a very special place in my heart and my world. Thank you to those out there that are doing this hard work, that are doing this community work. We hope to hear more from you. Thank you to our producers in Olani for today, and I hope you all have a great time in our next roundtable sessions and our last session, block 6 of our conference today. So have a good day, everyone. I'll see you guys soon.
Bye.